Hello class. I hopefully am recording my voice. Let's hope that's true. Had some technical difficulties today trying to record this, but here we go. I've pre-entered in data for the lab here. I separated transmission. So if you want to do one in transmission, you can do it. Just as a sidebar, if you are putting in a long stream of numbers, so you can enter them in one at a time, or if I, let's say, put 1 and 2 in there, usually that's enough for me to pull it down and actually I'll do that slower here. Once I have a pattern going, sometimes you have to put a third number in just so that the program can see what you're doing. If you go to this corner and it makes a T, you can pull it down and be like, copy this pattern is what you're saying, or copy this, what's happening here. Anyways, so the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste my concentration and stuff over here. So obviously you could do that with your test tubes as well. Otherwise, I've got my absorbance on here. Really important that when you are graphing, you only take your test tubes that you know. We do not want to have our unknown plotted because we don't have a value for molarity yet. So here we go. We highlight those. I'll do it again for transmission as well, just so you can see it. You're going to come along here until you see a little thing that looks like a chart. It'll say insert chart. It'll automatically insert it, and it will insert it looking, usually it does column for me. It doesn't have to. I don't prefer it that way, but in any case, you're going to go over to chart type. You're going to click down and you're going to scroll down till you see scatter. We're going to do scatter. And we should see these numbers along the bottom should be our concentration. If we want to do it concentration on our y-axis, we can. But typically, I would see concentration along the bottom, but it's actually not super important. In any case, we have it down here. We're going to then do some editing here. Oh, actually, sorry. Before we do that, our x-axis, we want it to be our concentration. So we can, it is selected there. Our series is absorbance. You can switch them if you really wanted to. And so you switch rows and columns. And let's go to customize. On customize, we're going to go to our chart style. If you wanted to change it, if you had issues, you wanted to change something here, you can do that here. Chart and axes. My vertical axis title, I do want to have here what it is. So if you look at your numbers, if you forgot what you put there, you'll see that they correlate with your absorbance. So you're going to put absorbance in there. I already typed it in once before, so just to make sure I could get it in there. We're going to click and go to chart horizontal axes. So if we go here, we are putting concentration because that's what we have. Oh, sorry, I should put my units in there. Molarity. Let's go back to my absorbance. Absorbance is an A. If you're doing this for transmission, percent transmission, you put in percent in there. And then if we do it in that order, sometimes when we do the chart title, it will just automatically populate. We always do our y-axis first, so absorbance, well, not always, I guess, but usually absorbance versus, absorbance A versus molarity M. Now, I don't like mine, sorry, to the left. I like mine right in the middle. So I just center mine. And then we're going to our series. We've got absorbance. We have, sorry, yours will probably show up as none for any points to start. You want to go in and put your points on there, or like sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. You can make them 7, you can make them 10 if you want to. I like mine to not be 2. It's a little small. I don't like mine to be 10. It's a little big. You can actually change the shape of it if you wanted to. So let's say I wanted diamonds on there. The reason that's helpful and important is that if I had 2 lines going, I would want to have something that differentiates them for myself. Let's just do stars for fun today. I'm going to look down here for data labels. I like to have my data labels in. Some people don't. They think it looks messy. I think it shows me that I entered them in correctly. And it also helps me if I'm trying to extrapolate information or interpolate information from my table, that it can easily find those. So I prefer them. Some people don't like them. The position can be, I kind of like mine below, but again, to each their own. And then from here, I want to put in a trend line. So if we went up, I'm just going to go back up and show you guys. If we did a chart setup, and we did a line. Yeah, let me just see here. Why is this showing it to me funny? Anyways, if we did it on as a line, we might get one straight line. And why is this series is absorbance? Why am I trying to get rid of? I remove one of those. X-axis is concentration. There we go. So this is what it would look like if we had a line chart, and see how, oh, maybe I go back to my customize here for a second. I'll take out that trend line. If you see, it's got a slight bend in it. I'll show you actually if I change my data here. I wonder if it will change it live. I think it will. 0.65. So see how it goes with it. If I have my chart and I have a trend line instead, my trend line will do what we call a best fit line, and it'll be a straight line. So I prefer that. Let's go back up here and change that back to where it was supposed to be, 0.59 or 0.56. And then I'm going to go back to my editing my chart, and I'm going to just get rid of my line type and go back to scatter, because I don't like having it connecting it point to point. So we did series, we got to the end of trend line. Opacity, we can change that. I like mine a little darker. You can keep your state, but my printer doesn't always print dark, so 80%, 100% doesn't really matter. I don't like my line too thick because it makes it harder for you to be accurate on taking any data points off of it. So I like 2. You could do 1, but I like 2. Then we're going to go to our legend here. I like to have a legend in. You don't have to. Let's put it on the right side. Oh, actually, we only have one thing. I guess we don't really need one, so let's do none. But if you had 2 things, you would want to use your legend. Horizontal axes. I just want to say that you could put in slant labels if you like that. So like that. It does look a little nicer. But the more important reason why I like to come here is I want to make sure I have 0 to 0 or 0 to. I want to extend this graph just a touch out this way, because I want to see what would be past it in case I ever needed to go past with my line. So I like to go 0.170, so just like 0.01 past where I am. See how now the graph's a little longer? I'm going to do the same thing on my right, or my vertical axes. Oops. Vertical axes. So I'm going to go 0, and you could change those numbers if you want to, but I want to make sure my window is maximized, but still where if there's anything that looks like it's right on the edge, see how that pops down now, and I can see that data point more clearly. Before, especially if I had my label on top. Actually, let's just undo that for a second. I'll show you where my label would be if I had my labels on top. Let's go to chart and axis, no series. Label position auto. See how that you can't see that data piece? So that's why I like mine below, or you just have to make sure that when you do your vertical axes that you make sure your axes can be just a little past there. Then you can see that. But again, I like to see mine below. It doesn't really matter in the end. Oh, did I hit everything I needed there? Yes. And then just for my grid line, and ticks. I do like having major ticks on there. And I do also like to have major spacing difference. So since I've got 0 to 0.05, I would rather have 5 little ticks in there. You don't have to, but since we are measuring to 1 more decimal place, I prefer that. You do not have to do that, but it does make manual extrapolation harder. So my minor count, I'm going to put 4. And that should give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I'm at a 0.25 here, that makes this 0.05, 0.1, 0.15, 0.2, 0.25. That makes it a lot easier for me to take information off my chart. I'm going to do the same thing with my horizontal axis. Oh, still my grid lines here. Where is my, click to get a horizontal axis. I'm going to get my minor count. I'm going to do 4 again. It's going to give me enough lines. Again, you don't have to do that, but it's harder to make things accurate. I do like my major ticks there. You can actually do minor ticks if you wanted to as well. I don't feel the need to do that, but you can. And then, oh, I am missing one more thing. I wanted one more label that you do not have to do this again either, but this is a nice way to math out your answer. Oh, where is it? It's in my series, maybe. Oh, where is it? Format data point. It's not in my data point. Pause. So if I go to my series, scroll down until I see label. There it is. And I put in use equation. So I don't have to again do that, but it does give you the equation of the line, which if you've been doing math or physics, you understand how nice that is. I don't like that position. I'd rather have it at the top. Above? No, it doesn't do that. Data label, trend line. How do I make this equation at the top? I can do that somehow, but why can't I remember? Where was my legend before? Oh, it won't go there, so I guess I'm skipping that part. Anyways, oh, there's my legend. Let's see if I position it to the top. There we go. So this basically is our y equals mc, sorry, not that. X equals, why can't I speak? Y equals mx plus b. Whew, super hard. So absorbance would be my y, and we can see that here. 4.78 is going to be the value for my slope line times my x, which is going to be my concentration, and then my intercept, if you look, it is 0.01 or 0.0193, which you can see right there. That looks pretty accurate. So if I've already put over here, which you guys don't have to have that in yet, but you can actually math this out. So you can put your slope in here, which is 4.78. For my intercept, I can get that right from here, which is 0.0193. Oops, 3. If I do that, normally my equation is y equals mx plus b, but which value do I have? I have my absorbance from my unknown, and my absorbance is from my y-axis. So I actually have my y value. So 0.36, if I want to put 0.36 there, I can, sorry, I put those there. I can predict what my x will be if I understand how this sheet works. So I can put in equals, and I'm going to rearrange so that it's x, because I'm trying to find for x. So if I rearrange this equation, I get x is equal to y minus b all together divided by b, or by m. So I have to make sure those brackets are in there. I'm going to go find my y. My y is, remember, in this case, it is the intercept. And then minus b is, no, I messed it up here. Minus y is my value here, minus my intercept, which is b, bracket, and then I'm dividing that by my slope, which is m. Sorry, my husband was distracting me with his phone. And that would give me about 0.071 for this value based off of this. Now, just to give you a heads up, I did not put in the concentration values that you will have. I put in some other made up ones. So this will not be the value if this is yours. If for some reason I need to extrapolate other data on here, let's say I wanted to find 0.3, and then I wanted to find let's see, 7 for my absorbance. I'm just gonna put another decimal place in there. Oh, too many decimal places. I can actually pull this down, but we're gonna see one issue here when I pull this down, so I just want you to have a look. If I pull it down and those numbers don't make sense, it means I've made a mistake. Now let me just show you what you do. It's giving me a suggestion, but I want to show you what to do. So this number does correlate with what my X prediction should be. So that tells me that my concentration would be 0.071 for that value, perhaps. If I want to make sure that I had any other data down there and I didn't want to change that, I have to make sure that this number and this number don't go down. So if I click here at the one below and I click up here, it will show me that it took this value and this value. If I go up one and I click on those, it'll show you I wanted slope and intercept. Because my slope and intercept will never change, I have to tell the computer or the program, don't let it change. So this is a blue one, which is my M right here. So I could have put a $sign that says it's always going to be B. I put another $sign that says it's always going to be cell 23. So B23 is never going to change. Then I'm also going to say that B24 is never going to change. So again, I put a $sign there, a $sign there. And then A28 can still change. And if I look over here, it does go down to A29. So everything just moved down one cell. Now when I pull it down, my B never changes, my 24 never changes, my B never changes, my 23 never changes, but my A28 has turned into A29. And so if I look at 0.3 now, if I go look around 0.3, so this is 0.25 plus 0.5. If you extrapolate all the way across, I click here, I put a little tick there. If I was to draw a line from there down to my baseline, it would put me at 0.05, have a guess, right? So based off of that, I would make my rough estimate of what it is. Since this is 0.05 and this is 0.1, this is going to be 0.06. So I make my guess based off of that. And it looks pretty close right there. If I do the same thing with my 0.7, so I've got 0.55, 0.60, 0.6, wait, hold on, that doesn't work. Yeah, 0.65, 0.70, go all the way across. I hit, it's just past this other line, which would be 0.14. So 0.14, just barely across that, and that gives me 0.142. So it looks out, making sure that I check that. So those are my tips for you guys.